The first Motorstorm was launched on the PS3 at the end of 2006. It was developed by Evolution Studios, who were acquired by Sony in 2007. It set itself apart from other racers by having a range of different vehicle types and fast, fun, chaotic gameplay. The epic crashes and smashes got the game a lot of attention, and the series went on to have 2 more PS3 games, a PSP game that really replicated the console experience, and Motorstorm RC. Motorstorm RC was a Vita launch game in the EU and also a PS3 cross-buy and cross-save title, meaning that you could buy it for Vita and also have it for PS3. You could also move your progress from Vita to PS3 or vice versa to continue your game on the other system. The game was a complete departure from previous games in the series. Unlike its 3D predecessors, Motorstorm RC was a top-down racing game where you control mini remote-controlled vehicles around tracks filled with obstacles and tight turns. As you play the game's festivals, essentially its career mode, you unlock new tracks and cars. The cars were varied, ranging from slow and heavy to almost uncontrollably fast. The game was a callback to retro 8-bit and 16-bit racers like RC Pro-Am and Micro Machines. It did, however, pay homage to the previous games with the tracks themed around the 4 games. Tracks were split into 4 festival sets named Monument Valley, Pacific Rift, Arctic Edge and Apocalypse. Each festival had 4 unique tracks and 16 race challenges to be completed. Races were split into 4 types. The standard race pits you against 7 other cars as you race to the finish. Hot lap challenges you to achieve the best time for a lap. In pursuit, you must overtake a certain number of other opponents in the quickest time. And drift challenges you to drive with style, giving points the more you drift around corners. Each race could last from 10 seconds to a couple of minutes. It may not have had the scale and epicness of the PS3 games in the series, but the short fun races were well suited to a handheld console. The Motorstorm games always felt addictive, and Evolution brought that to RC as well. Short load times and instant respawning after crashes meant that it was easy to lose track of time, even though you tell yourself you'll have just one more go. The gameplay was fast and fun, and trying to slide to the finish line and shave a 1/10 of a second off your best time can leave your heart racing. The controls were responsive, but driving the cars took some getting used to, and the game became extremely difficult in later levels due to the speed and handling of some of the fastest cars. Although the game started off pretty easy, the difficulty ramped up significantly, and trying to collect all the medals for each track was so hard that the developers patched the game a few months later to make it easier. Not only did players have to get used to the cars, the track surfaces and obstacles meant that players had to drive smart, not just fast, in order to claim the medals. Evolution added a nice touch in the default controls by using one analog stick for turning and the other for acceleration and deceleration, similar to the controls for an actual radio-controlled car. Personally, I found it difficult to control cars like this and ended up changing the controls to use buttons for accelerate and brakes. However, it was a smart and unique feature and brought back some of the nostalgic feelings of driving an RC car, with the added benefit that you could smash these into a wall and not get into trouble from your parents. Motorstorm RC delivered on Sony's vision for social gaming experiences on the go. It didn't have an online multiplayer mode on Vita, but online leaderboards and friend ghosts gave extra motivation to repeat tracks and improve your time to shave off that fraction of a second and claim the gold medal. Live leaderboards showed where you ranked against your friends and every player in the world, and for those with a 3G Vita, the scores could be updated while you were away from a Wi-Fi connection. Over time, Motorstorm RC had 2 expansion packs with extra tracks and dozens of cars that could be bought for less than $1. The expansion packs were released within a couple of months of the game release, giving players an incentive to keep the game on their Vita and continue to play it. The new tracks were themed around a skate park and carnival fairs. The DLC tracks were actually some of the best in the whole game and well worth the price. The additional vehicles, on the other hand, were in no way essential, but some were kind of fun and random. Sony also offered microtransactions in the form of saver packs that allowed users to unlock all tracks and vehicles. They weren't particularly expensive, but the idea of paying to unlock levels rather than playing the game drew some negativity from gamers. The game didn't look as great as some of the other launch games such as Uncharted or Wipeout, or the stylish looking Escape Plan, but graphics weren't the point of the game. The fun, fast, exciting gameplay were more important than HD visuals. Also, Evolution added lots of little details to the stages, like cardboard boxes, snowmen on the Arctic Edge stages, plants and other items to give the feeling that you were driving miniature RC cars on tracks you put together in your garden. The game reviewed well, with reviews citing the fast, fun gameplay and also the fact that it was cheap. At $10 or £6, it was a fraction of the cost of some of the other launch releases for Vita, and gave players hours of game time. The main criticism of the game was a lack of online multiplayer for the Vita version. As it was a downloadable game, there are no available sales numbers. However, as a rough comparison, looking at psnprofiles.com, it shows that it had the 4th highest number of owners compared to the Vita's other launch games, suggesting that it sold pretty well. Personally, I found this to be the most fun launch game for the Vita. While I also bought Uncharted and Wipeout at launch, I put off playing them in favour of Motorstorm RC. It was a great reason to reach out to other players and make new PSN friends in order to have some decent friend ghosts to compete with. After Evolution released Motorstorm RC, their next game was Drive Club on the PS4. Originally planned for the PS4's launch, the game was released more than a year late and suffered from many bugs. Although the game was patched and eventually ran smoothly, the unsuccessful launch of the game resulted in the studio being shut down in 2016. As a result, Motorstorm RC was the last Motorstorm game in the series. Thanks for watching, and please check out my other Vita retrospective videos linked below.